Hi everyone, this is Artemistic Kate. I just want to thank you for joining me for another one of my Prima Marketing watercolor coloring book and watercolor confections review. I've been really enjoying doing this series and I'm going to finish through the entire book. There are 24 sheets in all. They're an 8x10 and it's just full of motivational messages that are just so positive that I want to have in my life, and I think they'd be great for a lot of people. So if you're interested in trying watercolor at all, if you're someone that's been doing it for a long time, if you're someone that's just beginning, this is a really fun and great little book here. So yeah, so our next painting in the series is this one. Was the next one in the book, and it says, "You are worth it all." So there is that. I'm going to have a lot to say on that, but first I want to, let me find my tape here. I'm going to tape my board down a little bit here so that it's not going to be sliding around as I'm painting. So I'm just going to tape that down to my table. So there we go. That'll keep it from sliding around. Alright, so, well, now and I made it crooked for you guys, didn't I? Let me straighten that out for you. We'll do it just like that. Good enough? Alright, I like to have things fairly straight so you can see what I'm doing here. So, we are going to be using our Watercolor Confections, the Tropical set, as I'm doing for the entire series. I would like to have the entire book made with just this one set of 12 half pans, and see what kind of colors and mixes and things we can come up with, and designs that are all different, all from the same pan, from the same book. So we're going to go ahead and work with those. I've got my pan set up already over here. I've got to get some color down on this sheet to help it focus a little bit. So we'll work on doing that. But I think I might try to do the lettering first, so hopefully it doesn't have too many focus issues. I've noticed I have a few issues with getting my camera to focus, but it is what it is, and it's what I've got right now. So I've worked on trying to get better lighting going on, and I think that's helped. So alright, I think our page is ready to paint, and I've decided to go with kind of a rainbow theme on this painting. So I'm going to start by using, I think I might even use my number 4 for these very fine letters. They're very small, and then I'll use a larger brush, maybe a 6 or an 8 even, on these larger letters. So we'll see as I come to those. But I'm going to go ahead and do a rainbow look with this, but instead of doing it one letter at a time, I'm going to do it from top to bottom. I think that's the idea I have in my head. We'll see how that works. I'm not going to worry about doing these yet. I'm just going to focus on, well, maybe I should make it part of the rainbow color. So I'm going to work from violet at the top and go down and see where I get to. So I'm just going to use the purple that comes in the set. I'm not going to mix it, and I'm going to do it dry, on dry paper. So you know what? This palette's going to be right where I can't get to it. So I'm sorry, the palette, I'll just try to move it back and forth for you. Maybe I'll use the little thumb ring. Well, I'd have to turn it around this way, I think. I gotta think about that. I guess I'll do it like this. I'll try to get it out where you guys can see it as I'm getting paint, so you know which color I'm using. So I'm just gonna go in and, oh that's right, I was gonna do, I want these colors to flow together, so I'm gonna do the lettering first, and then I'll come back and get the little, I don't know what to call those. Maybe I should be doing this in wet. I've got, you know, I wasn't very prepared for this painting today. I just said, you know what, I want to do a painting. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just do blue, my lighter blue that I have, and kind of try to flow them into one another so it kind of blends. Well, and I'm just going out of the lines all over the place today. But that's okay. It is what it is. So I'm just going to try to not worry about it too much. I'm going to go ahead and get these here, and then I'll add the violet in. I'm not even going to rinse out my brush on that one. For the rest of the letters, I think I will wet them. Okay, so we've got a violet at the top, moving down to our lighter blue. And so I want to get, these are just going to be violet on the top, on the very top. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint them, and I'm not going to worry about if I'm in the lines on these. I just want to get the basic shape idea, because this purple's so dark that it's going to cover over those lines that are there. And then this one's probably a solid purple. After that, I think I'll do like I did on this lettering here. This one will probably be solid violet, where I just kind of do, you know what, I'm just going to do that, and then this one just slightly, and then I'm going to add the blue in underneath this little guy here, because he was really kind of halfway through, and then I'm just going to go through from here. So we're going to go from blue to green now. And the greens in this set are really vibrant, really bright. I'd like to have a lighter green that it goes into maybe. So I have this one mixed here already, so I might just go from that. And it's this kind of light Viridian with this bright yellow here. So that's that mix. I think I'll use that to go underneath the blue, but I'm going to go from the lighter blue to a darker blue. Let's see how we go with that. I might do, I'm going to switch to a bigger brush, but not too big. I'm just going to do a number 6, just bigger than what I had. Trying to think of if I should do one letter at a time or how to go about this, because I want it to be the rainbow going down. So I'm going to just start getting it wet. What I'm worried about is if I start, I'm going to lose the wetness for blending each individual letter. So let's do it one letter at a time, and we'll just do a lot of brush rinsing today. So I'm going to start with still the same lighter blue right in the top. Yeah, I like seeing that flow there. Isn't that great? So I'm just going to do that. Then I'm going to go to the darker blue in the set, and I'm going to add that in. A touch of that, like that. I think that's a good amount of distance to do that. And then we'll switch to, I should have gotten this wet. Sorry if I had it off the screen there. I can't see my camera, so I'm not entirely sure what's recording. Making sure I'll try to get this in so you guys can see which paints I'm using. I'm going to go ahead and add in that green. And I could have just done a yellow at that point, but I like having the well-defined color going on. So we'll do that about to there. Then we're going to do just pure yellow for the bottom half. And then in the next ones we'll do yellow to orange to red. So these colors will begin to sort of, and you can help them to sort of seep together and blend together, and it makes a really nice um, alteration between colors. They really flow together nicely that way. So I'm going to go ahead and get our O going and do the same sort of technique there. And then we're going to end up doing kind of a rainbow wash all the way around too, which I just did on another painting yesterday. Here I followed a tutorial from the Frugal Crafter, Lindsay Wyrich. She does amazing tutorials. She's so much fun to watch and listen to and paint with. So I did one that she did recently for a rainbow giraffe, and I made that for my daughter, and oh, it just turned out so cute. I love how it turned out. So I thought, you know what, let's do that rainbow theme on this one, because I want to try to brighten up this message a little bit. This is that darker blue I'm getting, and try to create a positive feeling through this message. You know, I hesitated doing this one, and I said, you know what, I need to do it, and I need to feel it. Woo, I got a lot of green there. You guys probably noticed that. This is one of those times I'm going to try to dab up a little bit of that, because that was just too much green. Anyway, sorry, back to this. You know, I know some people never even think about it, and they feel like they are worth it all, and it's never a thought for them that they're worth hard work, they're worth loving, they're worth taking care of themselves, they're worth being an amazing person. And then there are other people who, my brush had some yellow on it, sorry you guys, I'm going to just dab that off and get fresh water. There are other people who, for whatever reason, struggle to feel that worth and can go through pretty much their entire life feeling that lack of worth. And the truth is that I'm one of those people that really struggle to feel the worth. And people often tell me that they don't get it, they don't know why I would feel that way, that I am worth it all, and I want to feel worth it all. I want to. But there's something about having chronic illness where you're so limited in what you can do, and you can't give everything you want to be able to give to the people that you love. You can't give much out to your community because you require all of your energy for just existing. You know, you can't do all the things for your family that you wish you could do. And it ends up affecting you in a way, or me, where I don't feel worth much because I can't give what I want to be giving. And it's something that I still battle with, and that's why I'm being honest about it. I want other people that feel the same way to know they're not alone, that having chronic illness has this effect on us. It's about being so limited in our everyday life that we can't do all those things that we wish we could be doing, and it takes away from our viewpoint of ourselves. And, you know, the illnesses that we can all struggle with, whatever they are, they're different for everybody. It takes a toll on you in a way that you kind of lose sight of yourself. And it's hard not to just become the illness and lose yourself. And sometimes I do. And then sometimes I can kind of pull out of it and kind of get to where I feel like You know, I have something to give. I can be a part of the positive parts of life. It doesn't have to be all sickness and difficulty, you know. And that's what I fight for every day. One of the things, to just get to where I feel like I have enough to offer, I have something to give. I'm not just a burden on people, and that I am worth it all. And, you know, that's a tough message when you don't feel worth it all, but I think that's why it was in the book, because a lot of people don't feel like they're worth it all, and they need to be reminded that you're worth working for, you're worth fighting for, you're worth loving, and you're worth being a part of things, even if you can't give everything you wish you could give. That you're worth being accepted as a person, even if you don't feel like much of a person. We all are, and we all have our struggles, and we all have our fight, and we all have our journey. So, you are worth it all, and so am I, and I want to remind myself of that every day for all those days that I feel like I'll never be worth it. And that's the thing, I want to just keep waking up in the morning and reminding myself that I am worth it all. And I'm worth fighting every day to get better, to do more, to be more active with people socially, and to not just end up kind of hiding in my little hole to try to avoid, you know, admitting that I don't have a lot to give. And so I end up just kind of disappearing in some ways, because I'm just dealing with being sick and trying to survive, essentially. And I want to do more than survive. I want to thrive. I think that's the difference. You know, you can go through life surviving or thriving, or a little bit of both. I think that's where what my real goal is, to at least have a little bit of both and not just be stuck in survival mode all the time. So, okay, so these letters I'm moving on to, on it at all. They're quite small. Oh, I had paint on my hand and just got it on the paper, but that's okay, because we're going to do this really cool rainbow wash technique. So I switched to my number 4 brush again, and I'm going to put yellow in the top because I'm bringing it down, and I'm going to let it go down far because it's going to blend together, in my hopes, with this nice bright red and create an orange in the in-between. That's a lot of red. And we'll see what happens with that. I got out of the lines. I'm just really making a mess of this painting today. And you know what? I only get one chance. I've got one book. I get one chance at this. So I've got to make it good. And if it's not, well, that's what it is. That's what it is. So I'm going to try this again here. I'm going to try to just get all wet at once, and part of it is I probably have a little too much water on the page here, but I'm gonna go with it and see where I get with that. But this time I want to make sure I do not have as much of the red paint on, so I just dabbed a little bit of paint on the brush. Then I'm going to kind of put it on my paper towel a little bit so that it's just a nice faint, not faint necessarily, but not fully loaded brush. So I can just kind of add that in there. And we'll see, hopefully we get kind of a nice fade there. So now this swirl down here, I'm going to go just straight from the pan on this one and just paint it this nice bright red on the swirl. Here we go. And I'm concentrating because this is just quite the little swirl here. Sometimes these things I'm not so great at, but that's okay. There, we'll just kind of intentionally do that. This edge was a ragged edge, so I tried to go with it. Alright, you know what, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So now what I'm going to do, first I'm going to, I don't need to blow dry that, I'll just let it dry on its own. I'm going to get my nice big number 10 round into pretty clean water here. And then what I'm going to do is just start putting around dabs of water. I'm not trying to get the whole thing wet, I'm just trying to get it partially wet. And I'll show you why here in just a moment. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down just like on the lettering. It's not going to totally match up is the problem. So maybe I should just go around on this one. I think I will do that. I'm just going to kind of go around. So I don't want to get the whole thing wet. So I'm going to start with violet over here. So I'm going to go straight into that with my number 10. And then I'm going to just start dabbing it around and let it find the water. I learned this on my tutorial with Lindsay yesterday. And let it just kind of seep itself into those the water and just make kind of a interesting effect with that. And then make sure I've got enough water here. And I'm going to do this blue, the lighter blue next, and kind of go into it there. And you can see it finds the water and kind of travels through it, because that's what the paint does. It goes where the water goes. Okay. So next I'm going to go with the darker blue and go kind of over into the light blue and just come on over around here. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the greens, and we're going to do it on both sides. Okay. I'm pretty much out. I'm really kind of out of that, so I'll mix some more on. I'll show you. I'm going to do this nice kind of bright Viridian. It's not as dark as the other one in the set, so I consider it the light Viridian. And then I'm going to get some yellow, the bright yellow, plenty of it, and mix that in. There we go. And then I'm just going to add that in onto the page. I'm going to put a little more water in that. I'm noticing I'm getting a few little kind of hard bits of yellow pigment came out when I dug in and kind of got a lot. So there's these kind of a few of little grains of yellow paint there. So I guess that is something with the Prima Watercolor Confections that could happen. But you know what? I'm not that bothered by it. It doesn't really bother me. So I'm okay with that. You can see this green is following the water around. I'm going to add the yellow into it and right up into the green so they blend together. And I need to get some over here and get this moving before it dries hard on that. So I'm not getting the whole thing wet, I'm just kind of splattering around here with it. And I'm going to get some more of that yellow kind of splatter it around over here too. Now I'm going to actually use a little bit of this orange tone. It's almost like a light cadmium or something like that, cadmium red hue. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that to make sure I get an orange sort of bit in there. And then down here on the bottom, just adding more of those sort of streaks, splotches, whatever you want to call them, of water. And I'm just going to get into the bright red and add that in. Okay. Oops. Look at that. I love watching the red flow. This red is one of the best in the set as far as like flowing around and just doing really cool, exciting things. So take a look at that. We could splatter it with paint at this point, but I'm not going to. You could if you wanted to do that sort of thing. Just get all the different colors and start splattering. But I like it just the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and set my pan set on the side here to dry before I close it. I don't like closing them when I've got wet paint in a well. So I'll let it sit and dry for a little while before I close it up. I'll go ahead and, whoops, I almost lost my brush on the painting there. I'll go ahead and peel this off here so we can kind of see how that all looks without being on the board. And I'll hold it up a little bit closer for you, or I'll just zoom it in maybe. I'll stand up and take a look at the camera and see what would work the best. I'll probably just pull it up to you. So here it is. You are worth it all. Let's try to remind ourselves of that every day. And for those of you who feel like that, that's awesome. And you know, I hope you continue on your journey of feeling that way. For those of us who struggle with that, think about getting this book, putting it up on the wall, and thinking about all the reasons why you are worth it all. Thanks so much for joining me again for another one of my Prima Marketing watercolor reviews, and for joining me for my thoughts on my honest journey and what life is really like for me. So I will see you next time, and thanks so much for watching.